My name is Steve Long from Henry, between Clark and Watertown. I'm a grain farmer there. Thank you very much for being here. Congresswoman Herseth Sandlin, and Secretary Vilsack. My concern is this whole colossal cap and trade bill in general. I see it was passed in a matter of only a few weeks, and they passed a 300-page amendment in a matter of a few hours at the very last, I understand. To me, and I've been reading a lot about it, I only see it, and people, not just me, but people across the whole country, see it as not an energy bill, only a plan for a huge tax for a huge government. I really doubt very much that USDA's findings we're going to see a net plus even the first year. You know, $1 billion net plus up to $20 billion later. I just read just about a few weeks ago, the National Corn Growers put out a document on emails that we're talking about carbon offsets for basically only no-till farmers. Well, that carbon offsets will not be, well, it was in a draft, but will not be in the final version, the final bill. That was on the National Corn Growers Post. What can there be for a 1,000-acre grain farm that has 100 head of stock cows, that has no-till farming, where they're proposing, they're projecting an increase in their utility costs from, or this area, increase in costs of 50% utility costs for electricity. The Big Stone 2 power plant project is all approved and has been pretty much shut down because of this cap and trade proposed plan will just increase the cost too much to make it feasibly built. The really sad part about that is the new, I helped build Big Stone 1. I was there for 2 years. The big problem about this is with the new plant, the 2 project would have actually reduced emissions of the plants, 2 plants, less than the one we have today currently does. But now it's been shut down. This whole thing is a huge tax, and I think it's very bad for our country. Thank you for being here.
Great question. Great question. Let me see if I can respond to that, and I appreciate your comments, sir, and they're not unlike comments I hear from folks across the country. First of all, I think it's important to note that the bill, as it's currently crafted, does give USDA the capacity to define what qualifies for an offset. And while I don't ask you to trust me on this, because you may not, but it is more than no-till. It is significantly more than no-till. There will be offsets utilized in terms of the timing and application of fertilizer. There are offsets that will be used in terms of methane capture. There are offsets that will qualify for livestock operations depending upon the feed that's used in terms of reducing methane. And there's a dairy operation in New Hampshire right now that's experimenting with a feed that's reducing methane by a third. That would qualify for an offset. There are early adapters provisions for those who actually went to no-till several years ago. They would still be able to qualify. There are also a series of allowances for operations that cannot qualify under the offset program, but are helping to reduce their carbon emissions. There are allowances for those operations. There's the capacity to redirect a number of our conservation programs to non-qualifying operations. So I think there's more flexibility in this proposal than might be at first apparent. Secondly, while it is I can't deny the fact that there may be additional electricity costs, there are also proposals in the bill that provides for distribution of credits, tax credits and allowances to individuals, to businesses, to help defer and reduce the impact on the bottom line for folks. And there are a variety of studies. Some have suggested it's $1 a day. Some have suggested it's less than $1 a day. So there is you know, obviously a lot more to learn about this. I'd say one other thing. depends to a great extent on trade. One of the great things we have in this country is a trade surplus in agriculture. It's not true in most of our other parts of our industry. We're looking at trade deficits. But in agriculture, we've got a surplus. I'm deeply concerned that if 80% of the world takes climate change seriously, and the United States takes no action or no step to take action, it will substantially impact and affect our capacity to trade. For example, if I'm Jerry Ritz, the Secretary of Agriculture in Canada, and I'm in a closed-door meeting and I'm trying to sell Canadian hogs, or I'm trying to sell Canadian grain, or I'm trying to sell whatever, Canadian, you fill in the blank. I can tell you, if I have the ability to tell that trading partner from a foreign country that we are serious in Canada about climate change and the U.S. is not, that's going to make a difference in terms of who they trade with. So it's a big issue. The rest of the world is seeing this as a big issue. To a certain extent, they are expecting us to lead. And then the last thing I'll say is, a lot of concern has been expressed about whether China is going to play in this game, whether they're going to be involved. They are making an unbelievably large commitment to new technology and renewable energy. And we cannot, this is our Sputnik moment, we cannot let the Chinese gain the advantage in technology and renewable fuel and renewable energy, because if we do, we will never get it back. This is really, really important.
We are going to have to wrap up, I think, and we've got some closing comments we want to share with you. I just, as I think everyone here knows, wasn't able to support the House version of this legislation. I think it's got some work, got some changes that have to be made, marry it with a true comprehensive energy policy. But one of the things that, going to the China point, sir, that was added as a change in the House bill that I was pleased was added as a change, just as we had all of the elements of House Agriculture Committee negotiated, was the ability for the U.S. to impose tariffs on China as it relates to carbon-intensive industries that they may not regulate, I mean, to address the competitiveness issue. So we know, look, you raised some concerns. I know that there's skepticism. I share a lot of it, and we have to take the time to do this right. And the Senate, those introduced, has a long way to go to make sure rural interests are effectively addressed.